Hey guys, I know it's a little early, about 5 minutes early, but I just wanted to get started. I have the time. So we have a lot going on today. We're going to be talking some nerdy news, and then we're going to jump right into the mask tutorials I've been promising you guys. I'm going to go over 3 different kind of masks. I'm going to do 2 folding types, and then I'm going to do the one that I always done that I actually offered to sell. I'll show you one that I have pre-made, and then I'll actually build them. I'm going to build all 3 of them with you guys today. Each of it takes about 10 minutes, not too long. And I think if you guys have been here for the last few streams, you'll notice I've changed up my area a little bit. So I've moved my sewing table. I turned it from being flush against the wall to now standing out against the wall, and put my ironing board out, making sure nothing's melting, it's on. That way I can prop you guys up and show you and start sewing along, or as we go along. So I have my serger behind me and my sewing machine, as always, ready to go. So some of the nerdy news that I found today. Let me just screen share with you guys. So let's make sure that this is okay. So I don't know if you guys have seen or heard of this show, but there's a new animated Star Trek show. I know Liz Kopek is probably all over this. It's called Star Trek The Lower Decks, so it focuses on some of the not so usually featured crew members in the lower decks. And I guess in this latest episode, they made a reference to the Janeway Protocol. In this article here, they have an interview right here with some of the cast members and creators of the show. There's a video in there, and I'll let me just drop this link in there for you guys if you want to check it out. Just a second. There you go. Hey Liz, I knew you'd be all over it. I know that's your jam. I'm really interested into showing it to Willow. I know she loves animated shows in general, but she loves Star Wars, so obviously she'll have to love Star Trek, just like mommy. So I'm interested in going that route. There's a link to the article in the comments. But anyways, they just kind of go in here and talk about the show and some of the they go through some of the issues that's gone on. And then they talk about what the Janeway Protocol is. It says, primarily, it's a reference to Catherine Janeway, the Starfleet captain who led the SS Voyager home from the Delta Quadrant in Star Trek Voyager. By the time Star Trek The Lower Decks takes place, Janeway has risen through the ranks as Vice Admiral. The Janeway Protocol is based on the context of the scene when Ransom mentions it, seems to refer to ramping the ship through whatever obstacles in its path. This idea, as it relates to Janeway, goes back to the 3rd episode of Star Trek Voyager, 2nd if you count. It's a 2-part pilot. We got to be specific, right? The episode Parallax, in which Janeway orders the helmsman punch through a time vortex. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Hey, Ray. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Nicole. How are you guys doing? I love that you guys are on my YouTube, like I said before. It's really fun. But then having it on my Facebook just gives that extra oomph, if you know what I mean. So, so that was one of the articles that I found to share today. Let's see, some of the other things. I guess Disney Plus is going to be premiering some more stuff on their website. and they're or not website, sorry, the streaming service. So I think in following Mulan's footsteps, they're going to start premiering some more fresh movie titles there as well. Let's see, just gonna find some more articles. Oh, this is for Amanda specifically. So not an article, but some nerdy sharing. Justin discovered One Piece and decided to finally watch it. When One Piece was airing, I believe Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z was going through. So that's his first love, if you will. And so last night he decided to give One Piece a try, and man, he is just plowing through it. And he says there's a lot of parallels between that and Dragon Ball, and there's a lot of the same voice actors, which he's really excited about. So I thought Amanda would get a kick out of that, and anime lover Nicole, because it's I guess an anime. Again, it's not something that I tend to fall in line with, but I did watch One Piece on and off when it first aired. On and off meaning like an episode here or there for the long time that it ran. Let's see. Let's see what else. Oh, and then for anybody that likes to follow WWE, they actually are taking a residency in Florida because that's their home base. The Everest of the Everest of anime. Yeah, no, there's a lot of episodes there, but he's excited because he's one that once he sinks his teeth in, he needs more. So though it'll take a while, I'm sure he'll be excited. Hey, Amy, how are you? Anything spicy going on? He's got 7 years of episodes to catch up on. I know, it's quite a lot. I feel that way with the book series I'm reading. There's over 20-something books. I think there's close to 30. Plus, she has a couple like half books, if you will, like they're smaller stories woven into it. So and not that I'm catching up with it, I'm just rereading it. So I'm already on book 6, so we'll see. Maybe by the end of the month I'll be a good ways through. Oh, Amy, don't let your anxiety flare. It's all good. Oh, so anyways, back to the WWE thing I found. They are going to be doing a residency, which is probably the first time, I think, not in the history, but the first time in a long time that they've considered and or have done. I think it's just easier for them to stay in one venue while this pandemic is still hitting. They can control, not 100%, but they can control the environment a lot easier. And it should be able to, sorry, I was putting your comment on. They should be able to keep it a little safer, if you will, for everybody involved. I don't know how seating's going to go, but we'll see from there. Wrestling is one of those things that without an audience, it's kind of like the fighting, like MMA and stuff. If you don't have that crowd engagement, it's just not the same. Like comedies that way, and a lot of stage productions are that way. Though, as far as theater, you could get away with doing it, but there's just something with that audience and that electricity that goes through you. It's just not the same without an audience. So we'll see how it goes and what they plan on. So yeah, no, nothing spicy. I have fish and potatoes in the oven right now. That does sound pretty good. I was gonna have potatoes this morning, but they were bad and I didn't realize it. It's all good. But yeah, so that's some things that's going on. How was your guys' weekend? Mine was really quiet and relaxing. Jenna, my cousin, took Willow for the weekend. We were expecting one day and she stayed for 2. I had a suspicion, but I wasn't counting on it. It was really nice. I didn't watch any TV this weekend. I just listened to my audiobook, or I even had silence, which is pretty rare for me. So I was really excited. I got a lot of housework done. I got some needed projects almost to finish. And then I got some things ready for you guys for today. So yeah, potatoes. Yes, you can never have too many potatoes. I always think of Sam, and I know you were thinking that too, Samwise Gamgee. You can't have too many potatoes. It's pronounced potatoes. Amanda, my weekend was amazing. Cats in my laps and lots of naps. That was so you had posted about how that was yesterday for you. You'd wake up every so often and nap. That was me on Friday. I couldn't keep my eyes open for anything. So let's go over here and see if I can find some more cool things. Let's see. Let's see what Star Wars got's going on. So let's see. Let's see. This is an interesting article title. I didn't have a chance to peruse it yet. Let me just check it out for just a. Willow had to tell me about her blueberries. She told me, shh. All right. So I was going to screen share this with you guys. Trying to be just a little techie. So it says here, Marvel taught Star Wars, The Mandalorian creator Jon Favreau, to honor core fans and embrace new ones. So part of us already knew this, that, you know, between Jon Favreau and Kevin Feige at the beginning of the Marvelverse, they sat down and made a big old plan, and basically took really good stories that comic book fans liked, and did their own arc version to bring in new fans and also keep the old fans engaged. And it looks like Star Wars is going to be doing a similar thing. Let's see. So here, we wanted to really wind back to things that inspired the original Star Wars and really get it small scale and tell simple stories, Favreau told Deadline. Because part of what you inherit when you're going to see Star Wars now is the whole history, because the stories have been told for decades. And it was nice with a new medium to be able to start with a new set of characters and introduce a new audience. So I really like what he's talking about here. He's really talking about how you go to what inspired the original Star Wars and start from there so you can tell a new story. And though the new movies, you know, they harken back to the other Star Wars, it's kind of, we all feel this. It's rehashing a story that we've already seen and that was told. And The Mandalorian really strikes at its core at taking new characters with the same feel of the universe and going from there. So then you get the old fans that are aching for more Star Wars, but then the new fans that might not necessarily want to be in with the original stuff, but are excited to see something new. Then everybody can start fresh for the most part. See what you guys are talking about. I watched more Outlander. I'm still in the first season. Just saw Claire figured out McDougal. Yes, McDougal. Anyways, is collecting money for the Jacobite army. So I stopped at season 4, not because I hadn't had a want to watch it, but I love Outlander. The costumes are beautiful. The history is on point. It's for the most part, the first couple seasons are very close to the books. There's books, which is exciting. That's actually something we could go on too. Gabriel Vestas. Is that my Gabe? That's my Gabe. Hi, Gabe. Mando series was great test trial to seeing whether non-standard characters would succeed. I completely agree with you, and that's part of why I love it, because it gives them a chance to really take something fresh and go from there, but also where they started, they can pull in characters that we like for them to have cameos without having to jump around. I really, really agree with that. Let's see. But yes, the design work on Outlander was amazing. Amy, you're in for a lot. There's great. It's awesome. Let's see. What do you say, Amanda? Ooh, Ellie, you have to talk about Avatar creators backing out of Netflix because they wanted to whitewash the live action. I don't have too much to say on that. If you'll provide me with the link, we can talk about it. I'll go and we can talk and see what's going on there. It's strange that Netflix would want to do that, considering how Cursed went, because Cursed was in the opposite. So they took a traditional Arthurian story, which is typically white characters, because of where it's set in the world, and they added a lot more ethnic diversity, which I didn't think was bad. They still told a really well. It was still a very well told. I'm tripping over words today. I'm sorry, guys. It was still a very well told story, but they added, they modernized it in the sense of giving it some cultural diversity. So it's surprising to me that Netflix would want to whitewash it when they let things like Cursed and stuff try to do there. So yeah, well, I'll have to definitely check that out. Well, no one is going to watch the live action now. Yeah, Amy, if it's is it Airbender you're talking about, Amanda, or is it like James Cameron Avatar? Because I don't want to speak on one and it's the wrong thing. So I'm thinking you're talking about Airbender, but I'll definitely have to go in with there. Falling in love with Outlander. I just don't have a lot of time to binge. I bought my mom the books because she's obsessed. Yeah. I think by book 4, she'll get a little frustrated with the deviation of the show to the books. But other than that, they stay pretty accurate to the essence of the book, which to me is all you can ask for, because when you get so specific like the Outlander books do, or like Harry Potter or any of them, you can only really capture the essence, even with Witcher. Capturing the essence is all that you can ask for, because getting specific detail, it's really hard there. Didn't anybody learn when they tried to whitewash Dragon Ball? That's a really good comment. And that's how Justin will judge oh, I'm getting choppy. My internet's not wanting to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to be choppy here. But yeah, that's how Justin takes Dragon Ball's weight measure, if you will. He asks them about the movie, but he subtly does it not to specifically say the movie. He says the title, and then he sees how they judge it. Because he says that the movie was just deplorable, was not good, and he was not happy. But I agree with that. I mean, that's something where the cultural reference is very obvious, and why would you want to whitewash it, I guess. That's a very hard topic, or not hard, but complicated topic to discuss, because you have two sides, right? So you have like the Dragon Ball, where it whitewashed and it made it very, very few of the cultural references were acknowledged, and it should have been characters or actors that could not just play the role, but embody the role. So if it was appropriate, to use a white person in that character, cool. But if it was meant to be someone that was, of Asian descent, or I believe it's Japanese, do not hate me for that. I can't talk about Dragon Ball as much. Justin that's his realm. So I apologize. I'm not trying to screw things up, but basically if the cultural is there, um, then you want to take it, right? Or so like Mulan, right? We know that she's Chinese, so it should be all Chinese cast. There shouldn't be any real diversity there. But then you have things like with Cursed, they took where it's a culture of all, it's a Celtic story, a Celtic and English story, so it's all white people, but they tastefully added some diversity. Some people could say that it was wrong, but some people would say that it was new and fresh. So since it's such a it's a complicated issue, and I think as long as the story is told well and you're being respectful to what the creators wanted, then I full heartedly support it that way. So in the essence of, if you make something that's very Asian, you want to keep it Asian. If it's something that's very African, let's keep it African. If you want to add cultural diversity and you don't want to be specific, then keep it that way. But I think, and I mean, it's going to get a lot of people mad at me, and it is what it is. And it's not that I don't care. It's just you're going to ruffle feathers, right? So I don't know. That's like a huge topic, and we can chip away about it a little bit at a time as we go. Let's see. I hated Death Note made by Netflix, story wise and the whitewashing. I was so excited for William Dafoe and was so let down. Yeah, I think it's really hard, and that's a genre, anime in general, is really hard to bring to screen, because you have those people that just know the name and they don't know the cultural references. But I feel like anime is very much a cultural thing, and it's, whether it's Japanese specific or not, most of the time it does reference their culture. So if you're not portraying the culture right, you can't have a white person trying to pretend to be an Asian person who doesn't understand it. It's not the same. So I do understand there. Yeah, could you imagine Memoirs of a Geisha played by an American? No. Exactly. That's like Pocahontas, right? Though that is a touchy subject in general, or any story of a Native American woman, you want it to be cultural representative. And, you want it to be of that, whatever is being a tribe or a culture that's being represented. The actress portraying it or actor portraying it should also be representative to that as well. But as I say, I don't write these things. I don't cast them. I don't write them. But if I would, I would definitely, those are things I would definitely take into account. And especially, it's one thing for money cows and stuff like that to, they have certain actors that they can rely on. I will be right back, guys. All right. Sorry, guys. Census guy came by, so he's gonna leave me a link to go to finish the census stuff. I thought I did it, and it was a third party thing. So, anywho, let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. What did Liz say? If in the MC, wait. Yeah, Gabe, that's pretty much what I was talking. You said, can we talk about the opposite of whitewashing, like taking Disney Lady and the Tramp Midwest setting to New Orleans to add more Southern culture? So that I don't think is necessarily too bad if the core of the story is there, because I think that though the Disney Lady and the Tramp, yes, it was Midwest. I think the essence and story of Lady and the Tramp was a different story in general. That's like taking like Snow White or Beauty and the Beast, and which they do. CW did a Beauty and the Beast run, and they modernized it and put it, I think, in New York, or even Beast the movie. I think that's what they did there. So they're taking, that's a French cultural story, and they modernized it and put it into a different culture in general, which I don't think is necessarily bad, because they're keeping the essence of the story and telling it to a different audience. That's kind of like Star Wars did that in general with the overall tropes of like the hero story and good versus evil, light and dark, God versus the devil. Star Wars took George Lucas took all of those tropes and put it into Star Wars. He modernized it to a new generation and put it in a different stories type to get the message out. So I think that's kind of where that is. Ray, I'd gladly play Pocahontas. Shameless. If Akira isn't cast all Asian and set in Tokyo, I'm going to throw the biggest bitch fit ever. I understand there too. I actually liked it too. I just don't understand the motivation of the change. So I think it was just an update to tell to a different audience. That's usually what those are. When it's done tastefully and right, I don't ever have a problem with things being modernized or put in a slightly different setting, as long as the essence is there. But when it's just done just to do it, it doesn't make sense. It's forced. They don't capture the essence. They lose things. That's when I think that those issues can be wrong. Let's see what else. I have PTSD from a few Disney movies, and Lady and the Tramp is one of them. Can't watch Dumbo or Bambi either. I don't have any words for those. I'm one of those weird people that can watch pretty much anything and be okay with it, unless it's like a redo or remake. And like I said previously, as long as the essence is there and it's done tastefully, I don't see a problem with it. I'm so glad to see the faces in my chat that I do. I got Gabe, who's one of my, I'm pretty sure that's red. I'm sure that's that red. You should tell me yes or no if it's red. If so, that's my big red Power Ranger, and I love him. Talking with all my online friends, and so I have anime lover Nicole in there. I got Broken Birds, who's my Amanda. I have Amy Collins Russell, Liz Kopic. Let's see, who else do we have up there? We had Ray's up in there. And that's pretty much who I have in here, and I love it. I love these faces. It's great. I love having you all in here. That's my red. I get really excited when my real life best friends come in here and join me with my online best friends. It's like my world's colliding in the best of ways. So anything else that you guys have to talk about? Because I'm probably going to get started on these masks if we don't. I'm going to come over here. I'm on comicbook.com this weekend for some of these articles in the news that we're talking about. See what we got going on. I think I'm not muted. You guys can hear me, right? I'm just making sure. Hey, all reminding you of the weekly mental health check-in over at Broken Birds. Yes, if you guys haven't already, I keep it pinned at the top on our group to come over and join us over at Broken Birds. It's our mental health check-in. At any point, we do a weekly post to kind of vent the week. But if you have multiple things going on or anything else during the week that you want to talk about and we don't have a thread for it, just post it. It's a group, so you can post anything in there. Just keep in mind, zero tolerance on bullying or hate speech of any kind towards another member. And we really just want to keep a safe space for people to vent and to talk about anything that's going on with their mental health. Even physically, like Amanda was talking about recovering from her surgery in there. So anything like that, we just really want a safe space for people to unload. And let us know in your post if it's just a vent or a rant, and you don't want feedback. Let us know in the initial post. Also, if you would like some, either don't put the warning of rant or whatever, or in the comments or something, don't necessarily need feedback. I love you guys, just wanted to get it off my chest, or, what do you guys think or something. That way we can monitor the comments or anything for you guys and really keep it safe and friendly for everyone. Amanda and I think do a pretty good job. It's been up there for almost a year, 2 years, maybe a year and a half. It's been on there for quite a while, but we're always wanting to grow and expand. So Broken Birds on Facebook. Amanda did post that link in there. Let's see. DC fandom next. Can't wait for that. We can do that next week if you like, or we can talk about some of it now, if you guys would like. Liz, I've been meaning to tell you I got there's a video on cross stitching, and I thought of you. There's a thing on Photoshop that if you pixelate everything, you could probably actually make your own patterns and keep your count and stuff on there. So if you ever need more patterns or anything, I can look into photoshopping for you. Or I know you're great with a computer, so Photoshop and pixelating, and you could make anything. Or graphing paper, you could do that too, and graph paper your way into some new patterns. Let's see. My cats are always trying to suffocate me. I feel that way with Willow. They just want to cuddle you literally to death. Literally to death. So let's see. Comic book. Let's see. All right. We wanted to talk DC. So let me go over to the DC page. All right. So Lucifer season 5 finale filming disrupted by coronavirus shutdown. So looks like they're going to be postponed. Let's see. So Suicide Squad releases preview of DC fandom, or preview of DC fandom panel. James Gunn teases big reveal. So let me screen share this and we'll talk about it a little bit. I'll be back to stitching when I'm done packing. Hey, priorities. I'm so excited for your new endeavors, Liz. It's going to be so much fun for you. Let's screen share and tab. Here we go. All right. So let's see. DC fandom is happening next week, and when was this article made? So August 15th. Yeah, so next week. That's exciting. Let's see, and there's a bunch of stuff to look forward to. The schedule was just released, and many of the exciting new DC movies are going to be showcased, including James Gunn, The Suicide Squad. The movie is expected to have its first look at DC fandom, and Gunn recently teased fans with the new logo. Earlier today, Gunn shared a teaser for the movie's upcoming virtual event, and it included a whole lot of laughs from the film's epic cast. In just 1 week, join me and the cast of The Suicide Squad at DC Fandom for a sneak peek of our film and to see who's who. Hope to see you there, and add us to your schedule. And then he gives the thing. That's a bad icon for him. But yeah, so that's really exciting. So it kicks off with Wonder Woman 1984, The Suicide Squad, The Batman. There's also The Flash, Aquaman 2, Black Adam, and Shazam 2. So there's going to be quite a lot coming from DC in the near future, and that's extremely exciting. So what do you guys think? So yeah, so I'll let you guys catch up on that. So it looks like DC's going to have quite a lot going on. I'm excited for Shazam too. I'm a huge Zachary Levi fan, as you guys know, so I'm very excited to see what he's doing. Willow knows that he's also the voice of Flynn Rider in Rapunzel, so she's extremely excited for that. She loved Shazam. I want to watch it with her now that she's a little older, because she was still not younger, but you know, she was still younger when we saw it in theaters, so it'll be really fun to rewatch that with her. We just haven't had a chance to yet, so that'll be fun. So I guess we can move forward to the masks if you guys would like. Why are my comments not? All right, if I freeze and glitch, I'm sorry guys. I'm gonna refresh my browser just a second. Cool. So I'm sorry that it made me redo that, but I'm here again. So ta-da! Let's see. I watched Birds of Prey last night. I know you said that, Amanda. I still have to watch it. I got my Xbox out and set up just so I could do that. I have a feeling I'll probably like it more than you, but I also like things a lot easier than most. So I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to stuff like that. And then, like you said, you know, Ewan McGregor, as long as he's in it, I'll watch it. Yes, there's more Twilight books coming, which I know a lot of you guys are excited for. I'll take it. I'll read them. I'll probably wait for my friend to buy them, and then I'll borrow them from her. But yeah, that'll be exciting. So, all right, I think it's time for some masks. So I apologize. I'm going to move my computer. It's going to get a little shaky. So just a heads up. All right. So also, I found it. My bow ties are cool shirt just for Miss Amanda. You guys won't see my face for most of this because we're going to get started on our masks. So I have 3 different patterns here. So I have my gathers, and I'll trim it down. And I have fold option 1 and 2. So I will write out the directions for you guys if you would like. But basically, all of these are going to be the same length. They are going to be 8 by 10. And they're just going to go a little bit different. So to begin with, I'm going to sew the bodies with you guys. We'll start with all of that. Hey, Amelia Nash, how are you? I know there's not too many people over on the Facebook side. Most of us are on YouTube, but hi, it's been a while. Very funny that you join in right when I'm going to start my mask tutorial. She was a sewing buddy that I met at David's Bridal. I love her to death. And it's really exciting that you're going to join me while I start sewing stuff. So anyways, I have some fabric already cut out, but I wanted to go through the pattern with you guys. Like I said, it's not going to be difficult at all. We will start with the folding options. They're not too terribly difficult, but I will tilt down the computer and you guys will be able to see what I'm doing. Sorry for the lighting. I know you probably can't get, it's not going to be super detailed because I can't zoom into things because it's my computer, and unfortunately I don't have that much technology yet, but we'll work with what we got and I will make it to where you guys can see. So down here we will have the pattern, and I am going to cut out some fabric with you guys just to kind of show you how I do it, and then I will work with the other ones in pre-cut fabric. I have a bunch of fabric that's already cut in 8x10s. So I like to use a graphing ruler because when I put it on the paper, I can make sure that it's the easiest way to make sure that your ruler is straight because there's the lines in it. It's just the best way for me, I think, to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these out. And if you guys don't know yet, you want to have a different pair of scissors for paper than you do for your fabric because paper will dull your blade. So either, you can use a pair of fabric scissors that are old and you don't mind anymore, but honestly, fabric scissors will stay with fabric and paper scissors should stay with paper, because fabric shears need to be sharper. Because just going through paper is a lot easier than going through fabric. So, all right. All right, so I'll move some of the trash over. All right, so now that we have our patterns ready, I think I told you guys I was going to do the folding ones first. I apologize if I'm going out of order. It's no big deal. Let's see. YouTube link. Thank you, Amanda. Literally my favorite mod. That's my girl. Anyway, so we will do the folding option 1. And folding option 1 is just a standard pleat. And you will cut, and I will show you guys. You're going to have you're going to want 3 pieces. So cut 3, number 3. And you can do this on your pattern or you can work it on your fabric, but depending on how many pleats you want, you'll fold your paper to that and then mark it. It'll be easier to transfer. Okay, so we're going to do. And I'm probably going to do pleats that are, let's see how deep they are. Probably about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 deep. I am not folding straight at all. There we go. And I'm sorry this is going to start getting slow, guys. I know it's a lot easier on a edited video. I can just speed through all of this, but that's what live videos are for. So I'm trying to keep, all right, I made it a little bit bigger, but that's about a 1/2 inch there. And we're just going to keep that going all the way down. So there's a lot of different ways that you can finish these. And I will probably, I will do all of the endings, and then I will probably show you a couple different ways to finish them. And I do want to mention too, the bigger that they go, the wider they're going to be, but you want to keep right here about a half an inch. Okay. So the reason why we did this is so then when we pull it out, we will have where our pleats will meet. Okay. So flat out, we're going to take this and let me get this needle out of the way. I'm going to take this, lay this here. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you guys can cut this out. You can do it to where, like, some people will take things and weight it down and cut, or you can use some pins, which I will probably do, and then cut. Or you can also, if you have a pen that will show up on your fabric, you can just trace it out and then cut that. Whatever you're comfortable with. I will use pins. It's no big deal for me. But like I said, whatever is comfortable for you guys. So you'll just kind of pin this down. I will do just the 4 corners. That will be enough for me. Pin this down. And then also, I'm not going to make these 100% perfect because it's honestly just for me. So I'm not selling these. But, you know, just take your time. Make sure everything lays flat. When you sew, don't try to sew too fast. It's not a competition or a race. The slower you go when you first start out, the better it's just going to turn out. So it's not, you know, like I said, it's not a race. It's all good. So we will cut this out. I have this folded in half for 2 of these, and then I'm probably going to cut out some black material for the inside. I just want, of this size, I want 2. So, like I said, paper scissors, I'm just moving to the side, and I'm going to grab my fabric scissors. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. You also want to make sure if you use pins that they make their way away from the edges, because more times than not, I will cut through a pin or try to cut through a pin, and that will leave a gash on your scissors. That's actually what happened on these specifically. It's not fun. These were not expensive scissors. They were very sharp. But most of the time you do want to invest in some really nice cutting scissors, and those can go anywhere between $40 on the cheaper side if you're investing, all the way up to like $200. Cutting scissors can get really expensive. I think these ones are like $16 at Walmart, and honestly, they're probably some of the more comfortable and sharper scissors that I've bought, and I've bought some really expensive ones. So it's kind of just, you know, buy what you're comfortable with. Maybe, you know, buy a couple pairs and compare and contrast them and really see what works for you. All right, so I'm going to unpin this, and I only want 1 of these for this specific pattern, so I'm going to put this to the side. And for this, I'm going to keep this way, and I want this accordion shape now to go on here. And I'm going to, you can either use a pen and, you know, draw in where your lines meet up, or in my case, I'm going to get small scissors and I'm going to cut it. And you don't want to cut it more than 1/8 to 1/4. The seam allowance on here is 1/4 to a whole 1/2 inch. If you do your nips that are like 1/4, that's pretty deep. So you want to do like maybe a 5/8 seam allowance, but I always do a 1/2 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate this. And where I want these to meet up is where I'm going to snip. So I'll snip right here at the top, and then I'm going to fold this, and where that meets is right where I want to nip. I'm going to do that again. So we're going to trim right here, fold it in where it meets, where I'll trim. Fold this here. Fold it in. And then again where it meets. Okay, so right here, see there's little, these are called notches. And they're in there. So that way I know that I'm going to take this and this, and they're going to meet together like that. So I will do that same thing on the other side, and then I will go and iron it. Let's see what everybody's saying. All right. Before I go and iron everything, I just want to see what you guys are talking about. Let's see. Yes, do not use fabric scissors for cutting anything other than fabric. Biggest rule. Steven used my fabric scissors one time for something because I left them downstairs. I need a new pair because I'm picky and said F it. Been using them for the kitchen now. Yeah, I don't blame you there. This is great. I have all the stokage. I know I can get a little dull, Gabe, but I love that you guys talk amongst yourselves and really have a conversation while I'm showing you guys how I do things. So now I'm going to, and so when you get it like this, if you can draw and put a ruler to where your notches are, then you don't have to lay this out and trim all that. You can just straight across, make sure it's straight, but you can kind of not or color where the notch is. And the last notch there. So normally when I sew, I usually have either music on or sometimes I can watch TV, but usually I will have like an audiobook going or something that doesn't really hurt my concentration too much, because on tricky things, it can really mess you up if you don't have like really good focus on whatever it is you're doing. Also, you might sew through your finger, and that's never fun. Especially on machines like my industrial, it is very hard if you sew the wrong finger in to get yourself even out of that. So just, be mindful, be careful. It is machinery that you're working with. So you just want to be, like I said, careful. So now we can go through and match our notches. And they're going to go down. That's the direction that we're going, is down. Okay. I think I forgot some, but we're just going to do 3 for now. Whatever I ended up marking on there. Sometimes the pattern is all and well, but if you've sewn them a couple times, you kind of have some wiggle room to kind of adjust as you go. Because if you're like me, you're a dork and you forget. Because I don't think I want this to be as deep. See, that we don't want that as deep. So that means I forgot a notch, which isn't a big deal. You can just go on the fly. There, we'll do 3. Okay, so let me just tilt you guys a little, and then you can see there. Let's see, new comments. Let's see. I like that fabric. I know, I figured since I'm doing Doctor Who, I would do some spacey stuff. Let's see. I bought my set from Joann's and I love them. I don't let them leave the craft room often. Yeah, I love Joann's. And when I can, if I know what I'm buying, I'll go on Amazon. It's not a big deal. Or there's a lot of places that you can go and do like wholesale and get a lot of things cheaper. What kind of machine do I have? I have a Juki. It is a DDL 8700. So, Amelia, we used Brother, I think, at David's, and it is pretty much the same. Brother and Singer are pretty much the same as the Juki in look. I'm not sure how different they sew. At my work, we use a Singer, but they pretty much sew the same. I think it's just a price. But that's my beauty. So I'll hop on her in a minute and show you guys how I sew some stuff. So I'm just going to angle you guys this way. Yeah, you should be able to see me ironing. All right. So here. All right. So because I'm using 100% cotton, you can use it on the hottest setting because cotton can take it. And I think you guys will be able to see this. I'll try to do it without burning. On my iron right here, it'll tell you the different fabrics. So mine says silk and wool, synthetics, and cotton or linen. So usually the cheaper ones like that one will have it and it'll work. I want a new one so bad. I know. I got mine with school. I wouldn't have been able to afford it otherwise. And yes, Gabe, it is a machine. It's wonderful. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and press this. All right, so that is it all ironed up. So I'm going to now go ahead and cut out the black fabric. I'll need 2 pieces because that's going to be lining, and I'm going to make a pocket for it. So I do the pocket for the filters, and the filters, you can use a paper towel. You can get some really cool air filter stuff. I have a big old air filter, and it actually does filter out virus. It's for the house. It's not going to hurt you breathing in or out. It's just the way the material is woven, and you have to take the entire thing apart, so be careful. It will prick you. Don't run your finger across it like an envelope. I did that and learned the hard way. Stuck my fingers pretty bad. But yeah, you could, as long as it doesn't have any fiberglass in it, you could probably use it for a filter. Coffee filters work amazing. They're thin, but will catch any extra particles. You can use an extra thing of cloth if you want. You could just do like a 3-way cloth without a filter slot. That is completely up to you. Like we discussed last video, I recommend 100% cotton for the mask itself, and to be able to wash it on a high heat. So now, like I said, I'm going to go ahead, and I don't actually have some black material cut, but I have all of this fabric. So I will just go ahead, because it's mine, I will probably just use some pre-cut stuff. Last I gotta do. So I will use this really awesome fabric to go inside my space stuff. So, all right. Now with this, I'm gonna angle you guys down. Let's see. We're gonna put it face sides together. right. All right, so now this one we're gonna sew quicker. What I'm gonna do is I'm going 4 inches down. So I'll take my ruler and I'm gonna go, it helps to have it on the right side. Okay, so we're gonna go 4 inches down here and then 4 inches down here. 3, 4, right, 1, 2. Okay, and then we're gonna take them 3 inches in. So we're gonna go 3 inches in and 3 inches in. So now I'm gonna take you guys over here. Let's move my iron. And I angle you to, that's pretty far still. Let's see, I'm trying to, can you guys see that all right if I was to sew right here? Let me know. Let's see, pretty, I wanna buy small enough fabric to make like 2 masks of fabric. How do I ask for that? You're gonna want a fat quarter of fabric. So that's the fabrics that are, so at Joann's, right, they have the big wall of cotton, and on the bottom, they have those small squares. You're gonna wanna get those small squares. So with a fat quarter, you should be able to get 2 masks, I believe. 1 or 2 masks you should get. So get a couple of those. They're usually $1.50 to $2, depending on what, how thick of a cotton you're getting or what pattern it has on there. But yeah, I would definitely get just a fat quarter. And you can go to Joann's or Walmart. They'll have them. They have plain colors. They have patterns. Sometimes they'll give you bundles of things that match together. But that's what you'll ask for, Amy, is a fat quarter. And I'll put that in here. Fat quarter. Fabric. So basically what that is it's a quarter width of a cut, but when it's a fat quarter, it's not as long on the top. It's like a long square, and that's like a quarter wide. And that should be able to get you a whole mask. All right, so I'm gonna angle you over here to my sewing machine, and we're gonna sew those lines I drew. So the ones that are 3 deep, and you're gonna go 4 in. And we're gonna sew those and then press them. So let me just go sew those real quick. I won't, yeah, you guys can't see that, so I'll keep the light off. It helps to leave your nippers where they belong. Okay, let me just trim these little threads. Those down there. All right, so, all right. So now I will just open these up. Oh, I got the pattern pretty cool. So we'll open it up, and then we have a pocket. Doo-doo. Little pocket. So I will press that real quick, and then I'll show you how it's gonna go together. All right. Okay, so we want this to match this. So I will fold this and kind of make sure that it meets up where the pocket hole goes in the middle. I did notice though that when I pressed this, I pressed it a little crooked. So I'm just gonna give it one more pass over just to straighten it out a little bit. and then I will sew the pleats onto the pocket piece. Okay. So 1, 2. Okay.
I got a stream.
Yep, I'm streaming.
No, I said I got a stream.
Nope, not for a while, honey. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're gonna do 1. Let's see. You can also pin down your pleats to make sure that they're even. I tend not to because I always forget to not get the heat right on that pin, and that's plastic and it can melt to your fabric, and that's no fun to anybody. There. Okay, so you'll put right sides together. Okay, so right sides are together, and we're just gonna sew a 1/2 inch right here to bring them together. I'll do that at the end actually. So we're gonna start by closing the ends, and then we'll fold them in, and then sew the sides. See, the kiddo is getting fussy, so I gotta go, but it was so fun to see your face and your space. I'm so excited you stopped by, Amelia, and take care of the little one for me. Yes, she has the size. Yes, Willow has had the biggest size. Sigh. She's a silly child. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and sew these. So we'll bring the computer back so you guys can see me while I sew. So I'm sorry it gets so quiet, you guys. I know it's just me in here, so just definitely, talk amongst yourselves. Maybe come up with some questions you have while I sew, and I'll answer them as we go. All right, so I'm actually gonna pull these out a little bit just so I can get to the ends. So I'll sew those together. I'll bring back in the folds. You know what? So there's a thing called basting, and I totally forgot that I could do that. So I will baste together. So that's not a permanent stitch. I will baste the ends together so it doesn't come unraveled. Then I will go around and sew the ends, and then I'll come back. All right, so let's do some basting. And basting, you don't need a seam allowance for. You can just use the length of the foot, which is 1/4. And I won't back stitch because it's not a permanent stitch. So now that I got my base stitching, it won't come apart, but you can see how the pocket will fold out and how it will go on the face. So this one will fit nicely like that. Also, I will probably grab some pipe cleaner. On all my masks that I sold, I always put some pipe cleaner right here along the bridge. When I get, I don't think I can actually do that on this machine because this is a straight stitch machine. So I might go ahead and hand sew that at a later time. But you can always put some wiring right here. That way, like for me, I have glasses. I can just really push that down and it's not going to move. Let's see. I'm watching it all. I'm all into watching her make them. I forgot we should be having a conversation. Well, as long as you guys are entertained and like what you're watching, then I'm fine. I just get nervous with the silence. That's all. Amy, I want to ask to be my first project on my machine when I can get upstairs again. Yeah, and then you can watch this and laugh and giggle because I'm not doing it like I should. I've not done a tutorial like this live ever, so you guys are in there. I guess I did the shirt, but I was more confident what I was doing there. There's like a million different ways to do masks, and I'm actually kind of drafting this one on my own. I'm merging like 2 different mask patterns together. Yeah, the pipe cleaner really does help with fogging. Oh, I know. I think all of us here wear glasses. So I have some pre-made cut pipe cleaner. I cut longer pieces than what a traditional mask, like the surgical masks have. They're probably just enough for your nose. But I have some pre-cut ones here. I'll probably have to trim it down a little, but they'll go from about here to here because then that will fold through your whole face and just really keep it down. Maybe I should hand sew some wiring into the ones I already have. Definitely. So since you said that, I will actually go ahead and hand sew some wiring in there just so you can see how I would do it. I'm probably just going to do a zigzag stitch, but with my hand since this is a straight stitch and I really don't want to have to go and get my other machine out. I already have a bunch. What's the lovely piece on my dress form? So that is actually a shawl I made at the end of winter. I think I got it finished in March and it was already too warm to wear it. But I just have to add buttons to that, and it's a crocheted shawl. I'm actually making the same pattern for my cousin because I ran out of thread from my sister's project and I don't get paid until Friday. I'll do a little tour over there and show you guys exactly what it is. I have to add a lot of fringe on the bottom though. I'm moving to Facebook because YouTube is like X amount of seconds behind. Oh, thanks, Gabe. Now I really know it's my red. For those of you who don't know, he is one of the champions of my nickname as Ducky. It was a very interesting time getting that. So he basically witnessed one of my very first anxiety attacks, but my metalhead friend to the end, my red, he's a giant man, and he also has a beautiful wife and a beautiful baby. So I'm very excited that he has some time to come over here and hang out with us. So before I sew all these together, then I'm going to go ahead and get a needle and some thread, and I will sew some piping on the duck. I think it's because of you, Gabe, that my mom has my ringtone. She has an iPhone, so the quacking duck, that's my ringtone, and it's all because of Gabe. So I'm just going to trim this down. Because these are my paper scissors, I have no problem cutting my wire with them. So no freaking out, guys. It is okay. Sorry for the lighting. The sun is setting a little bit, so you're going to get some rays on my face. So no problem. Willow's coming into some problems, so I apologize if you hear her or not. All right, so this is about, let's do a measurement so Amanda can follow along when her foot gets better. It's about 5.5 inches is what I cut this to. And I have my needle. It's just a standard size needle, nothing special. And I will pull. I think she's playing games on my phone. All right, pull some thread out. All right, not that it really matters because I like mixing thread colors with my projects, but I'm using a red thread. Like I said, I have no qualms with what I'm doing. So I'm going to be having, I always forget which is going to work better. So let's look. Let's see. We're going to pretend that we're putting this on, right? So if I stretch, there's that. Or if I stretch, there's that. What do you guys think? Pleats up or down? In the very first mask I made, I put some piping on the bottom and the top, so then I could really scrunch it to my chin and then it really stays still. But the way that my very first mask goes, and I'll probably sew that one next, I call it my scrunch mask. It scrunches really nice here, and it does not move right here. So it's kind of depends. That looks like Burnett blanket yarn, super plushy yarn, is it? So that is actually a standard yarn. It looks plushy because of the stitch, the type of stitch. I use a bubble stitch in there, and it's like a wind. It almost looks like an alpine stitch as well. Like I said, we'll take a tour over there when I get done with this specific mask. All right, so what do you guys think? Pleats up or pleats down? I don't really think it matters. It's what's comfortable. Pleats down. Okay, so Amanda says pleats down. Let's look. So nose, pleats down to fit, or pleats up, hold to nose, pull. Yeah, I agree, pleats down. Okay, so now I know where to put my pipe cleaner. So pleats down, we're gonna put the pipe cleaner right here, and I'm gonna put it about a quarter down, right by where the seam allowance would be. So then when it folds over, it's gonna be well hidden and it'll be right on top, so it'll hold down. Okay, so we're gonna center that pipe cleaner. Let's see. Scoop back a little bit. There you go. So I'm gonna put, see, please down, center this pipe cleaner right about there. So that's where I'm gonna want it. All right, let me knot this. Okay, so I learned a really cool trick. So when you have your thread, okay, so you have your needle and you have your thread, and you're gonna want to put it this way, but you take the thread and the needle, and you're gonna wrap 1, 2, 3, and then hold it onto the knot or on the wrap you made. Pull all the way, and it will knot it. And then you got a really nice knot. So hopefully you guys can make that work. It took me forever to get that to work, but there's a knot. All right, so tilt this back, scoop back a little, and I will start sewing. So I actually learned how to hand stitch before I could sew on a machine. So hand stitching to me is really quite relaxing. So I wanted to do a zigzag stitch when I was talking to you guys, but I think I'm just gonna, loop it through. Just do some loops because I'm gonna be sewing back over this. It's not gonna really go anywhere, so I don't really need to worry too much. All right. Let's see what you guys talking about. Shut the fuck up, that's awesome. Yeah, I learned that trick actually when I was working at David's Bridal from one of my bosses, and it took me, like I said, forever to really get the hang of it. But once you get the hang of it, there's like no going back, to be honest. Okay. Usually I can go pretty fast, but this isn't really wanting to behave, so I'll go slow. Let's see. And it doesn't really need, the stitches really don't need to be pretty. You will though see them on the outside. So you'll probably want to make them as pretty as possible. Actually, that reminds me. Okay, before we get too far, I actually sew this on the lining piece, not the outside piece, so then no one can see my stitches. So I'm actually going to go ahead and pull this out, and it's going to take just a couple extra seconds, but I had an epiphany while I was doing it. I actually don't sew it on the outside piece. So if you sew it on the outside piece, just know that people are going to see it. You might want to do X's. If you cross stitch, that's all it is, or you can just do a loop stitch all the way through. I've got to roll out and get lunch, but we'll be back. Hopefully you're hanging out when I get back. If not, it was nice seeing you. It was nice seeing you too, Gabe. I'll probably be here for a while. So, but yeah, I hope you guys really like that trick. I'll have to do it again since I'm pulling all this out. So I'll show you one more time. All right, so we're gonna put that pipe cleaner in the same spot on here, but because this is going to be the inside, no one's gonna see that part right on that seam, because that's the part that's going to be flipped inside out. So you can be as careless as you want with your stitches and no one's going to see it. All right, so take the thread, the needle, hold the thread, 1, 2, 3, and then you hold it where you wrapped it, push, pull all the way through, and then you have your knot. Ta-da! Trim away any excess. All right. I know, Amanda, you do a lot of hand stitching, so I just see you using it now. All right. Okay, so we're gonna just do the same thing, pleats down and center that piece and just sew this to the lining instead. So. I didn't sew the knot long enough. All right, so how are you guys today? What are you guys up to? What you guys thinking about? I know usually when I start sewing, we start talking extra nerdy stuff. So I am really excited. Like I said, for Shazam 2, it's going to be really fun to see Black Adam because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is going to be playing Black Adam, so that will be fun. The Batman, I think that's Patman or Robert Pattinson playing Batman. That will be fun. The Suicide Squad, I'm kind of interested to see how that is. It's interesting too because yes, it's the Suicide Squad, but it's such a close name to a movie that just came out. It'll be interesting to see what they do. Hand stitching is all I know for now. I know, Amanda, honestly, I was hand stitching for, let's see, since I was 6, and I started really learning the machine. I didn't learn until I was about 22. So that's how long I was hand stitching. If you guys want to do that fast math. So I made bags, I made shirts, I made quite a lot of stuff by hand growing up. I would hand embroider, nothing special. I think I just mostly did X's. I'd embroider band names into my t-shirts or my initials. I love sewing buttons into things that don't necessarily need buttons, just to give it some embellishment. Um, just a lot of stuff. So for this, all I'm doing is, so you see where your pipe cleaner is. I'm going in and coming out. See, right where it is, and then just pulling it up, and it'll loop it around. Pattinson drool. I know. So what I'm gonna do after I loop this is I'm gonna take my machine and just do a couple straight stitches up, back and forth on it, just to make sure it doesn't move where I want it. Some people did suggest to put put buttonholes right here, so that you could take in and out, like just basically making like a shaft, so you could replace the yeah, that stuff, the pipe cleaner. You can do that if you like. All the masks that I have that I've washed a lot, the pipe cleaner's fine. It's not rusting. I know some people were worried about that. If it is, if you made the mask yourself, just take it apart and replace it. If you're really worried about it, I would find a wire that is washable. So like a thicker, heavy dutier wire, kind of that can be moved around. Like you could do floral wire. You could do that. You could find maybe some workable bra wiring. It's kind of all up to you and what you're willing to work with and what you're not. I don't have any issues with the pipe cleaner at all. I'm sure if I opened up the mask, it wouldn't be rusted. All right. I'm really interested to see how he's going to play Batman. Also saw the trailer for The Devil All the Time, and he's in that, which I'm curious about. Yeah, Robert Pattinson is an amazing actor. I have stood by his side from the beginning. He has some range. He really, really does. And I know a lot of people just think of Twilight and whatever, but if you read the books, his portrayal is pretty spot on, to be honest. And I know a lot of people don't like Kristen Stewart. I'm probably one of the few that does. I watched her in some of her original movies, and she's pretty great. But I know her portrayal as Bella is controversial, and I'm not saying that it's well done. I'm just saying that in the books, from my perspective, you're not supposed to be able to read her mind at all. She's 16? She's a teenager. She's angsty. She's done. But I think for all of that, she did a pretty decent job for what she was given. I don't want to fight, but fight me. It is what it is. We're all gonna have different opinions on it. So there's a lot of actresses that I think could have played her as well, but I think for what they did and already having cast and having contracts, it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, I wasn't really in love with the movies as far as the series. They weren't bad, but they weren't perfect. They weren't great. But I really did like the books themselves. I think most English actors have a leg up, not just because of the great training opportunities that they get, but because of the culture difference. You don't have people telling them all the time, like they do. They're honest. It's hard to be an actor, but when you are a theater actor, you get paid generally more than you would ever hear. You can make a decent living because it's culturally respected, and it's part of their society. Whereas here, you hear somebody say, I want to be an actor, and it's just eye rolls, and you're never going to amount to anything. And that's not a real job, and that's not important, and blah, 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 blah. So I think with the cultural difference and being able to have training that people will take seriously, it makes a difference. All right, so that's my stitching on the side. You can't really see it there, which is good. That's what I wanted. And that's my little pipe cleaner. So, oh, I don't think I'm quite done. It moved on me. So the beauty of this is I can move it down just a little. Oops, that was way too much. All right. All right, you guys, I should have just got my machine out and zigzagged it. But anywho, I'm just gonna take my machine and I'm gonna stitch right here, straight down, so it doesn't move. Also, Amanda, you're gonna get a kick out of this, but only because of you. My little trash can. It's Captain Marvel, my movie popcorn bucket. I actually loved the movie, and I know you didn't care for it, but I use it as my trash can just for you. All right, so we're gonna take this over here, pop it on the machine. All right, trim some of these threads away. All right. So it's not straight, but it'll still do the job. But see, there's the little piping. So the piping is going to be our back side. So we're going to match right sides together because we're going to flip it inside out. Okay. And then I'm going to go through and sew along on the longer sides. We'll flip it out and then I'll press it and then we will close off the edges. Yeah, we'll close off the edges. All right, so BRB, I have to correct myself to the bathroom. No problem, Amanda. Hey, you love what you love, no shade. Yeah, exactly. There's no time for that. If I can't tell you how much I love it and you don't love it after that, I'm not gonna, I would have said that anyways. I'm not gonna fight someone to like something that they don't have an interest in. All right, so let's go ahead and sew these edges. Oops. Helps to make sure that your needle thread is long so it doesn't pull out when you sew. Oops, I got it all kinds of tangled. There we go. Okay. All right, so now that my thread is fixed, we'll sew this together. All right, so I'm gonna do a seam allowance of 1/4 inch. That's about where my foot meets it. Oh, there you go. So right here where my foot meets the fabric on the edge, that's where I'm gonna go ahead and sew. I need a chair like that for my craft room. Yeah, it was a little pricey. It was like $150. at Office Max, but it's the nicest chair I've ever had. It really contours my back. It has a really nice cushion on the bottom. And I don't ever get stiff from sewing, which is like super rare. All right, I will back stitch and then I'll just sew away. So that sound was me running out of bobbin thread. So because I don't care about the stitching at the moment, I'm actually going to switch over to a greenish color. I already have it wound, and I'm going to keep the top red until the next time, and I will do another one. I think after this tutorial, guys, for the specific mask, I might take a break and then come back and do a live. You don't have to watch me, but I'll do a live for the other ones, just because it's already 2 o'clock here, and I probably should get Willis some lunch. But we'll finish this whole mask together, and then I will come back and do the other ones. All right. This one. I don't know if you guys can notice, but that sound is a lot better because it now has bobbin in it. Okay. Trim and cut. All right. So now that it's together, take it, fold it in. Pull, pull, pull. All right. So now that it's together, this is our front. This is our back. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna come through and I'm gonna, press it down. So I also want to show you guys a trick when you're pressing, just real quick. So let me scoot all this over. Okay. So most of the time, most people will just kind of push down and then sew. But if you take it and you put the side down and you roll it, you can either roll it with your fingers and roll back like that. See, and roll. That'll get the closest to the edge as you can, and it will be basically flat to it. So take all this. Press it. Do the same on the bottom. I sewed it on backwards. Oh, well. All right, Okies, I'm going to do more prep for dinner and reading English plans. I might not catch the next live. It'll depend on where I am with work. No problem. So if anything, I might just go, because they let me record on here. I will probably just record and then post them in our group. That way nobody has to worry about a live. I don't have to worry about not talking necessarily. it'll probably be boring because there's going to be no sound, but I want to get those videos in for you guys. That, or we can go over one a day. Whatever you guys would like in the comments. I know it's gone on almost 2 hours, so I'll finish watching this part, but then I'll head out. No problems, Amy. If you have to go, you have to go. But if you stick around, that's awesome too. You know me, no pressure. So I'm almost done with one anyway. So just all right. So
Hey, Mom.
hold on.
Can I call Nana?
After I'm done.
Okay.
All right. So now that's all pressed. We will take the sides and we're gonna fold. Actually, I'm gonna serge the sides together because my serger's out and ready to go. And then it'll give me a clean line. And then when I fold it over, it's not gonna be itchy on my face. All right. And we're gonna fold this over about 1/2 inch. So like 1/2 inch. And sew it here so there's a channel. All right, so let me get the serger plugged in. Let's put this over here. Okay. My foot. This on. Sorry about the light. This one doesn't give me an option to turn the light off, I don't believe. Yeah, I can't turn the light off on this one, so just bear with me for just a minute. Okay, but see, nice clean edge compared to that. All right, nice clean serge. And then I will go ahead and pop over here and sew that 1/2 inch. So I got my foot stuck. So sometimes you can flip it off and on depending on if you know your measurements. Like if you're comfortable with what a 1/2 inch looks like, then it really doesn't matter which way you sew. There's a guide on the inside. Most people like to sew that way. If this isn't a really big project, so it's not going to bother me either way. And I flipped it because on the opposite side, the channels are going down. It just makes it easier to sew. All right. All right. And that gives us our mask for the most part. Oops. some little danglies coming out. So as you'll see, now that this is done, I can pop this here, pop this down. I told you I've sewed backwards, so oh well. But that'll be like that, and I'll come over like that. So, oh, I'm so mad at myself for sewing it backwards. But yeah, so if I sewed it right, it'd go like this, and then it would come and wrap around my chin and have the piping right there. I know it seems loose on the bottom, but because of how we're going to put it together, it's not going to be the same. So I like to use, I like to have it, let me adjust. There we go. I like to have it come across my head and not behind my ears. That is completely up to you guys. You can use, this is laundry cord holder, or you can use paracord. Because of this material, I thought it'd be fun to use the paracord. For most adult heads, you should be able to get about 50 inches should be enough to fully tie it. If you have a slightly bigger head, like my husband or Willow, you'll want to do 60 or longer. You can use yarn, you can use whatever you want to tie it. People use elastic. That is definitely okay as well. I just don't like really the feel behind my ears. I have pretty sensitive ears. So we will take, where'd my tape measure go? It's a little mess over here. All right, so you take the tape measure. Yeah, if it's like a light mask, I don't mind so much. Or if I'm in there for like 10 minutes, wherever I'm going, I don't mind. But if it's anything longer than 10 minutes, I need it to tie behind my head. All right, so for the sake of it, we'll go to the end of the tape measure, use my paper scissors, and cut. So I also recommend for the paracord, if you can see it, it does that. So because it has some plastic in it, even if it was cotton, lighter, and just kind of burn the edges. And then kind of, there we go. All right. And because I have knitting needles, that's what I'm going to use to thread this through my mask. Just a thinner knitting needle. Okay. Now the part where the wire is, you're going to thread it to where this lays down. So the threads are going to come this way. So we'll go down here. Take our little poker. Okay, sometimes you just got to get creative. So I'm sorry to keep you guys here for pretty much 2 hours. I know I did that last week. Thank you for sticking with me. I hope you've learned something out of it. Come on. So some people also suggest to sew, when you sew it, to have the cord in and just keep it back so you don't have to do this, but it's whatever works, to each their own. Because I did the pleats on all the way to the end, this is probably going to be a pain in the ass for me. So I'm just kind of warning you guys now. But basically, so if you like the pleats up or down, that's the way that you're going to want, the cords are going to want to come out this way. Because, so say this is the end of the cord. When you come up, that's what you tie. So I have a mask already made somewhere on here. There it is. So I made this one for Justin. This is my scrunch one. But basically what I'm saying is the cord that goes around your neck is going to be down here. And the part that's going to go on your face is down here. So that's where the cord is. And then you'll pull and it'll go here. So I'll show you in a second this one. This mask is a lot faster to make. It's no pleats, it's straight. See, just straight. There's a pocket in here. I know you're not going anywhere, Amanda. I'll probably do just this mask next. It shouldn't take too much longer. I'll just stick around on here. I think that one's actually a lot faster. There's no hand, the only hand sewing would probably be the wire, but I think I'll just do some stitches across to keep it in place on my machine, and then we'll go from there. So this is not wanting to work with me, the paracord one. So I think I'm just gonna trim it and then reburn it. There we go. This is not wanting to behave. So let's see if I can get the other side threaded in. Okay, so this is when we think on our feet. So what I'm gonna do is pull that stitch out and then just sew it where it needs to go. This is what happens when you sew a pattern that you've never sewn before for the first time live. You haven't tested it out. So, all right. So I'm definitely going to get another lamp to put behind, either behind or on the other side of me. I want to get one of those ring lights so it will be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing. Also, so it's easier to see what I'm doing when I'm actually working on something. I think it's time to upgrade because I want to start sewing more with you guys and kind of, you know, when the need strikes or something, get that done and do some more tutorial stuff. I know we wanted to do some content stuff, and I really do want to do that. But right now I'm having fun sewing with you guys. So I think, you know, talking about some nerdy stuff as we go and sewing some nerdy stuff. I think we might just focus on some cosplay right now with the live. What do you guys think? I know Gabe said there's a delay and most of you are on YouTube, so I don't blame you for not being able to respond so quick. But yeah, once this is done, it won't take too long. You guys know how fast my machine is, so I'll just get this all cleaned up. That's a pet peeve of mine too, just as a tip. The cleaner that you can rip out a seam, and if you take the time to get all of this, the extra threads out, the easier it's going to be to resew it, and the cleaner it's going to look in the long run. When people just take it out and then sew over it, nothing more in this world boils my blood. I really, as far as sewing, I really think you need to take the time and make it clean. Okay, so let's move on over and we'll sew this together. But yeah, I'm really interested to see on where you guys want the channel to go from here. There's a lot of tutorials and stuff out there, and I really want to put some content out and make towards it. But like I said, I'm having really fun. I'm having a lot of fun kind of showing you guys how to sew and stuff. All right, so we'll undo this because we're not going to need it. And we're going to hold this close to there. And then we're gonna, you can use your fingers to make sure it's pushed where it needs to go. Oops. This is going to be a long cord, but I wanted to make sure it would fit. I made some of these for Amanda Duncan, and the last batch, the cords got really short, and we had to troubleshoot what to do for her to make sure they fit. And she forgot about all the thread she had, or the yarn, and I did not. So I helped her come up with a plan to string some yarn in to make sure that these fit. Also, I totally forgot to tell you guys, Amanda knows, but I got a pattern to make a crocheted little mini Geralt doll. And I want to offer those to all of my Patreons. You know, some of you guys have been sticking with me since before the channel had anything on it. And as newcomers come, I also want to reward them. So I'm going to be making those for you guys. So now that that's on there, I'm going to show you guys how to tie off the ends. So I wrap it around once. I go in 1, 2, and sometimes 3, depending, but this one I'll do 3. And then I just pull it tight, and then that'll give you a nice little end. So wrap around, we go 1, 2, 3, and then pull tight. So you can do the same thing with like the edge of a t-shirt, or you can do, I like the paracord because you'll see in a second it just slides up real nice. You can make a bias tape, sew that down and use that. It's all preference. So we want the cords to be on the top of our face. Put it down. I'm gonna take my glasses off and move my move my pigtails out of the way, and kind of show you how I do it. So these make it easy, and you just pull tight, and then we're gonna pull this up, pull around, and we're gonna tie it. All right, see, and it lays really nice and tight when you do that. Then you pull down, pull up a little, and voila, there's a face mask. So this I feel is pretty breathable. It's not too close. I get pretty claustrophobic, so there's that. I did sew this upside down, so the pleats are actually going up, I believe. So let's see how they go with glasses. Yeah, it fogs, but if you had that right here, like if it would have gone right there, you'd be fine. So let's test the theory. We can take this off. I'm gonna flip it around, and I'm gonna see this goes. So this is the patch, but my things here. So I'm just testing a theory. I want to see. All right. So then we can bend our thing. I know that this is where the filter goes, but I just want to see. See, with the Bing, there's no worries with glasses. All right, so This is my first pattern I created on my own. So I literally just did a hybrid of these here. What you could probably do is instead of having this pleated too, you could probably just leave it flat and cut it to the finishing height, or leave a little bit of wiggle room, maybe do 2 pleats instead. You can change them up. But what I want to show you, so these are the masks that I sold. So the wire's on the top. There's just one seam on the bottom. Hold on just a second, honey. And it's completely flat. And there's a pocket here, but it ties the same. So these are the ones that I sold when I was selling masks. And I might start doing it again just because, you know, it's round 2, we need them. So it's completely flat. But what I like, when you pull it down, you can either wrap it or you can leave it. But you pull it taut, you come up, and then you tie it as tight as you want, whatever works. But see, this is the gather mask that I'm going to show you how to make. But this is why I call it the gather's mask. It gathers really close here. There's no gap. There, when you pinch down, there's no gap. And there's hardly a gap here. So all the way here is nice and covered. And it'll fog a little because I don't have it right on my face. Right? But if you push it down just a little lower, see? No fog. Nice face mask. And you can do this 2 inches from the top, or you take an inch off the top, and no, an inch in the sides and an inch off the top, or 2 inches off the top, and that's a kid size. So that's the one I'm going to show you guys soon. And like I said, I suggest washing these all the time in hot water. You can unthread the knot, wash this by itself if you want, wash the cord. The paracord is washable. But yeah, so those are the face masks. And I think I got a guest. There's a little Willow. You gonna say hi? I know Amanda's in there. You say hi to Amanda?
Hi, Amanda.
And you can say hi to Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Why are you being shy?
I just love them.
You just love them.
I love you to be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy. You don't. She says she loves to be shy. You just like being silly.
Hey, Mom, can I have my M&Ms?
I'm almost done, so maybe.
Mom,
We'll play a little bit longer.
Mom, please can I play Pokemon?
No, we're not walking. Stomp, stomp, stomp. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and stop this stream here so I can get Willow situated. And then I'm going to start a stream here in a second to show you my other one. It's probably going to be 15 minutes. But I did promise you before Amy goes as I twirl, I promised you looking at this. So that's the stitches. So it has a little bubble stitch right in there. And then it's like an alpine stitch here. And it's just a regular yarn. I think it's a 4-weight, just a very generic. It's the I Heart, or the Love, the one with the heart on it. It's nothing fancy. I did add some pop of color here and a pop of color on the top. And down here, I'll add some fringe, probably along the whole bottom and the side. But it buttons up on top. So I don't know if she's hungry. She ate up like literally an entire case of blueberries before I started streaming. I know that's not necessarily filling, but let's see what it looks like on. Okay, so you take it like this, put it along your shoulders, and then you would kind of clasp it like that. So it would go like this. See, you have your arm free, and then it's nice and warm, but it's pretty warm, so I don't wear it too often at the moment because it's the summertime. But yeah, you can do it. You can do it sideways. Let me just kind of. You can have it sideways like that, which is how I would wear it and have my arm kind of free. There's supposed to be 3 buttons right here. And then, or you can wear it like the middle. Oops, that's not the middle. You can kind of middle wear it and have it kind of like a shawl, just kind of, you know, button down the middle here. And have it however you want. But I will link you guys the video on this. I followed a YouTube video. I'm one of those, you show me a couple rows on something long and I don't need it the whole time, but I will post it for you guys. I know there's a lot of crocheters in there. She's very tactful. You see her hands the whole time. She's very patient, and it's very easy to follow. So I will post this video in there for you guys, and I'm gonna take like maybe a 10-minute break, and then I'll come back and show you guys the other mask. So love you guys. Thank you for spending 2 hours with me. It means a lot. So I'll see you later. Bye.